Well, here we go again. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Red Seat Radio. My name is Corbin. The good news is the Red Sox made it a full 7 days without having to add anyone to their injured list. The unfortunate news is that streak stops at 7 because today it was announced someone new is going to be joining that Red Sox injured list, and this time it could be a bit of a big blow. This guy was a major contributor to this Red Sox bullpen. So what we're going to do in today's video is break down this latest Red Sox injury news. We're going to talk about who it is, what the injury is, how long they could possibly be out, why this move to the IL was made, and we're going to be talking about how this is going to affect the 2023 Boston Red Sox. But before we get into that, do me a favor, make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're new here, we talk Red Sox content almost every single day. Also, make sure you guys have hit the like button on this video as well. Helps these videos out a ton, and it would mean a lot to me. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one. Let's get into it. Okay, so let's start by breaking down obviously who that player is, what the injury looks like, and how long he's going to be out before we talk about how this is going to affect the Boston Red Sox. Today, the Boston Red Sox announced that they were going to be placing Kutter Crawford on the injured list. Now, for those of you who do not know, Kutter Crawford was injured on Wednesday's game in the 9th inning. He actually pitched a scoreless 8th inning, came out for the 9th inning, faced a couple of batters, and then left the game. Now, after the game, there was a bit of confusion as to what Kutter Crawford's actual injury was. The first things we saw reported was that it had something to do with his knee, which would have been a really big issue, but then it was changed to a hamstring problem. He was having tightness in his hamstring, and that's why he was taken out. In fact, the day after, on Thursday, Alex Cora mentioned that, hey, we don't even think Kutter Crawford's going to need a stint on the IL, and on Thursday, he was placed on sort of a day-to-day basis. Well, unfortunately, it looks like things have changed a little bit, and the Red Sox have officially put Kutter Crawford on the 15-day injured list with a left hamstring strain, retroactive to Thursday. For those of you who don't know what retroactive means, his stint on the IL actually started yesterday as opposed to today. Now, I don't have a ton of information as to how bad this strain actually is. I don't know what grade it is. I don't know if it's a mild or medium strain, but from everyone I've talked to and everything I have seen, it looks like Kutter Crawford's strain isn't that bad. It looks like it's more of a mild strain, and that's really good news for the Red Sox and for us who have to watch the Red Sox, right? It most likely means that Kutter Crawford is not going to need more than 15 days on the IL to get over this, which is fantastic news, right? Because at first, when you hear hamstring, your immediate thought is, oh, this is going to be a James Paxton-like injury where it takes him a long while to actually get back to the major leagues. Luckily for Kutter, though, that does not seem to be the case. Now, for the Red Sox, this is going to be a bit of a blow. Kutter Crawford's first couple of games in the major leagues this year were as a starter, but he eventually got bumped to the bullpen because of Garrett Whitlock and Brian Bayo coming back to this team. And since joining the bullpen, Kutter Crawford's been a major contributor and a major factor as to the success of this Red Sox bullpen, because since going to the bullpen, he's pitched 16 2/3 innings, allowing just 8 hits and 2 earned runs. He has a 1.08 ERA with a 0.540 whip, and batters are hitting just 136 off of him with a 4.04 OPS. Like I said, it's just pure domination. Now, this isn't going to affect the Red Sox just because of his statistics. It's also going to affect the Red Sox in what roles these bullpen arms play, because since Kutter Crawford entered the pen, he was used as a long relief type reliever. You were seeing outings of 2, 3, even 4, and I think there was even a 5-inning outing in there somewhere where he was coming out of the bullpen and going deep into games. The Red Sox are going to need someone to come in and fill that role. But before we get into who that could possibly be and why that's such a big impact on this Red Sox team, let's go over who the Red Sox are replacing Kutter Crawford with on their roster, because this is one I don't think a lot of people are going to like. The Red Sox also announced today to replace Kutter Crawford on the 26-man roster. The Boston Red Sox have recalled Kaleb Ort from AAA Worcester. I told you guys weren't going to really like this. But either way, I think we're all pretty familiar with just how good Kaleb Ort has been for this Red Sox team to start the year. Spoiler alert, it's not very good. If you guys do need a reminder as to just what Kaleb Ort's statistics looked like before he was sent down to AAA Worcester, he had a 7.30 ERA in 12 and a third innings for this Red Sox team with a 6.28 FIP. So it's not like he was getting unlucky on the mound and his stuff was really good. No, he was getting hammered on the mound. He also had a 65 ERA plus, which is about 35% below league average production, meaning that Kaleb Ort on the mound was about 35% worse than the average pitcher in baseball. One thing to note with Kaleb Ort coming up, though, is that when he was sent down, specifically Red Sox pitching coach Dave Bush mentioned the fact that the Red Sox still really like his stuff. They like the velocity of his fastball. They like the movement on his slider. Dave Bush said that the main reason why Kaleb Ort was not successful at the major league level was because of control and command. He didn't have a ton of control over his fastball, and he didn't have great command of his slider. He was leaving too many hittable pitches in the zone, and he was getting punished for it. So I guess if we're trying to look for positives about Kaleb Ort coming back up, you could say one of them is the opportunity for Kaleb Ort to try and get that command and control under him, right? If he can figure out how to have control, how to have command, maybe he could be an effective pitcher at the major league level. We did see it for the span of like 9 days in a row where Kaleb Ort did not let up a run. So maybe there is a silver lining with Kaleb Ort coming up. But let's talk about how Kutter Crawford going down and Kaleb Ort coming up is going to affect this Red Sox team. Well, we kind of already touched on exactly how losing Kutter Crawford is going to impact this Red Sox team, right? You're replacing Kutter Crawford, who had almost a below 1 ERA at 1.08, with a guy like Kaleb Ort, who has an above 7 ERA in this Red Sox bullpen. So obviously, talent-wise, there is a big trade-off there, and Kutter Crawford does have the higher ceiling, so that alone will affect this Red Sox bullpen because naturally it will become a little bit less competent than it was before. It's still going to be a strong bullpen, but now you just have Kaleb Ort instead of Kutter Crawford. Now, obviously, Kaleb Ort can't do a long relief role. He's a guy who, at max, is a 1-inning guy. Maybe you could stretch him to 2 if the lead is big enough, but in most cases, Kaleb Ort is a very strictly 1-inning type pitcher. So who takes over that long relief role in the absence of Kutter Crawford? Well, to answer that, we have to look at the IL again. With James Paxton coming back very, very soon, you're probably looking at about a week to a little less for James Paxton to be added back and activated to this Red Sox roster, which means someone in this rotation is going to get bumped. They probably won't put James Paxton in this Red Sox bullpen. They tried it out a tiny bit in his minor league rehab appearances, and it did not go well. Plus, that between the comments of Alex Cora and management, as well as Chaim Bloom himself, they view James Paxton as a starter. So someone in this rotation is going to have to go to the bullpen. The two biggest candidates right now are Tanner Houck and Nick Pivetta. So most likely one of those two will be added to this Red Sox bullpen when James Paxton comes back. Those guys could almost immediately take over the role of a long reliever once James Paxton is back. So realistically, in my opinion, I don't think Kaleb Ort is a long-term solution, or at least a solution until Kutter Crawford comes back. I think Kaleb Ort is a solution until James Paxton comes back, which again, should be about a week, maybe a little bit less. James Paxton coming back into this rotation should naturally be able to fill the role of Kutter Crawford. And to me, that's the biggest reason why Kutter Crawford was even added to the injured list to begin with, right? Because I mentioned Alex Cora seemed pretty confident that Kutter Crawford didn't need the IL. Well, James Paxton coming back and someone going into the bullpen is going to afford them the luxury of being cautious with Kutter Crawford. But until then, yeah, we're going to have to deal with Kaleb Ort in the pen for a little bit longer. Let me know in the comment section down below, what do you think of this Kutter Crawford news? What do you think of Kutter Crawford going down? What do you think of the injury? What do you think of his timetable? And obviously, what do you think about Kaleb Ort coming back? Because I'm going to venture to guess it's not exactly fuzzy, warm feeling. So let me know all your thoughts on the latest Red Sox injury in the comment section down below. As always, if you made it to the end of this video, do me a favor. Make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're new here, we talk Red Sox content almost every single day. Also, make sure you guys have hit the like button on this video as well. Helps these videos out a ton, and it would mean a lot to me. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one, and I will see you in the red seats.